So just to warn you, this will be a highly, severely optimistic speech based on my own experience. Just a little bit a year ago, I moved back to Poland from Switzerland. Before that, I lived for 3 years in Silicon Valley, in Palo Alto. And only when I moved back to Warsaw, I felt like, shit, there are some reasons to have FOMO if you are not there. So a quick question to gauge the audience. How many of you live on a regular basis in Poland right now? Okay, around a third. How many of you haven't been to Poland throughout the last 5 years? Wow, everybody's been to Poland throughout 5 years. Okay, so you probably know all these things. How many of you have a FOMO because of not being in Poland? FOMO is a fear of missing out. No one. It's perfect. The first thing that was really striking to me when I moved back to Warsaw was that the quality of life for professionals in Poland is extremely high compared to Switzerland, compared to San Francisco, compared to Palo Alto. And this is just a rough budget for a family with 2 kids. And the point I want to make here is that really out of one income, you can really provide for their family with 2 kids, at preschool or school age. I don't want to compare it with the UK because I'm no expert on the cost of living in London, although I suspect that you pay a little bit more for an 80 square meter apartment than just 700 British pounds a month. But really, in Warsaw, you can have very good quality of life, and the salaries are climbing, especially for IT professionals, for management professionals. The second thing that is extremely different in Poland right now compared to, say, 5 or 10 years ago is that we have a very low unemployment rate. And this is a graph from Eurostat. So according to Eurostat, we are right now at about 4.8% unemployment, and even less in metropolitan areas like Gdańsk, Warsaw, Krakow, Poznań. And you see, this is actually very close to the UK. And what this really means for you is that companies, startups in Poland, have to import foreigners. Me personally, I believe in kind of a mission about bringing back the experience and talent, maybe a little bit higher ambitions than typical Poles have. And I think it's ethically correct to go back to Poland and show the people who have never worked abroad or who have never developed their careers abroad what the standards in the more mature ecosystems are. My personal passion is also venture capital, startups, and all kinds of things that are happening where new technologies and entrepreneurship and capital are crossing. But what I see in Poland right now, that there is a very huge deficit of skills like sales and marketing, business development, product management, user experience, and software engineering, of course. So even though Poland, together with Slovakia, Czech Republic, Hungary, and Ukraine, together produce more software engineers a year than the United States, it's still not enough because the demand is much higher. At Startup Poland, that Maciej mentioned before. Oh, by the way, I run Startup Poland. We're an NGO, and our mission is to have more and bigger startups in the country. And each year, we run our flagship research and report where we measure what the needs and the drivers and the obstacles of the ecosystems are. And this lack of talent, lack of skills, is extremely important thing that startup founders are pointing to. So given that skill set void or the skills vacuum, or whatever you call it, I feel there is an opportunity in Poland right now, kind of like in the 90s. Some of us are too young to could have a benefit from the 90s economical opportunity. But the skills are needed, and there is lots of companies, especially startups, who are willing to hire these professionals. Number 3 thing is that only recently we have seen high net worth individuals trying to invest in startups. So we have Sebastian Kulczyk, the richest Pole. He just recently announced that he's going to invest €60 million dollars in startups in Poland, but not only. Startup Poland, by the way, is a partner of his investment fund and accelerator, helping them also to structure the business mechanics of these accelerations and startup investments. So we have him. Then we have the CEO of Selena, Krzysztof Domarecki, who is also saying, okay, if Kulczyk is investing, I'm investing too. So we only recently see that there are many high nets who are not only looking at highways and factories and real estate, but they are finally looking at startups, even though that before they have never been LPs in real VC funds. So something started happening, and this is an extremely good sign. I believe that one reason why this is happening is the access of funds throughout the three new, more or less new institutional funds. Personally, I think that the fact that Polish Development Fund, they're all government agencies, the fact that they have money for startups doesn't really make startups better. And I don't think this is going to really directly inspire the growth of the companies where the money ends up. But it really motivates and stimulates the growth of the VC ecosystem. Because the way these institutional funds are doing this time is by partnering with real venture capital funds and requiring private capital to match their money. So PFR, for instance, or PDF, whatever you call it, it can provide as much as 85% of capital leverage for whatever private capital is bringing. The National Center of Research Development is usually 50-50, but there are also some programs with higher leverage. And Vitello Fund, the smallest one, which is run by PZU, with a sole strategy of investing in foreign VC funds as an LP, also requires some private capital to join. So this is not something like what PARP has done before, like directly giving grants to startups. This is actually the institutional capital in the form of an LP that is pairing with private capital to fund startups. The fifth thing is that we have really vibrant startup scene. I think 5 or 10 years ago in Poland there was only one kind of startup event. It was called Aula Polska. Then we started having startup weekends. There's very few of them. But today you can really organize your weekly schedule with startup events, especially if you're in Warsaw, Krakow, Gdańsk, or Poznań. Of course, most of startups are in Warsaw, but hopefully we'll have some in Słupsk. But President Biedroń is going to talk about it later, I hope. We have around 3,000 startups, so it's less than Israel, it's less than London, but it's 3,000, so it's not that few. Startup Poland has ambassadors in 16 voivodeships. So everywhere in the country, we basically have somebody who represents Startup Poland and who runs events on our behalf. And we have several, over 2,000 people, tech conferences, bigger and smaller, in Gdańsk, in Krakow, in Warsaw. And of course, we have the biggest of all Google campuses, the startup, not like Google Office, but campus space for startups. This one is on Praga in Warsaw, in the newly refurbished vodka factory. It's a lovely place, really big, with lots of interesting programs for startups. It's bigger than London campus. The sixth reason, which I think is going to make Poland very attractive for non-EU startup funders, is the Startup Visa program, which is about to launch in the fourth quarter this year. And this is based on, or inspired by the most successful startup programs like Paris French Ticket or Startup Chile. So it's not like reinventing the wheel. This is basically taking the best practices from other countries that have done it before and attracting foreign startups to Poland, providing acceleration programs, providing funds, providing a visa fast track. And hopefully we'll see the results of this skill import within next year or so. And the last reason is that Warsaw, especially, is a very cool place to live these days. It's very nice, it's very colorful, especially in summer. It's a place where you'd rather be. And I like Warsaw, so I think not being there can give you a FOMO. So to let Mada start her panel, thank you so much for your attention, and let's stay in touch.